Hey, good morning. Paige Browning here. It's Saturday. This is Seattle Now. Today we're bringing you the best from the KUOW Newsroom. First, when ICE officers arrest someone in a car, sometimes the vehicle gets left behind. Just south of Seattle, a local mechanic's helping people tow these stranded cars and get them back home. Gustavo Segreiro reports.
We're in a residential neighborhood near SeaTac Airport. Angel Tepale crawls under a black SUV to hook it up to his flatbed tow truck. This summer, he's been busy picking up cars after an ICE arrest. At least 11 so far. He's not happy to see this trail of people getting taken away.
I wish I can change the laws, but there is just a wish because it ain't happening. And it's not going to happen anytime soon.
ICE says when a car is left behind after an arrest, they let the person make arrangements to have someone pick it up, or ICE will call local law enforcement to get it towed away. Sometimes Tepale will get a call. He'll take the car back to his mechanic shop and keep it secure in a gated lot. Then he'll post on social media in hopes of getting the car back to the family. One car has been parked at his shop for weeks, a beat-up 2000s golden Toyota Camry. If it was there for any longer, the old owner might be better off buying a new one, if Tepale was charging a lot fee. But he does all this for free to help people out. He appreciates gas money, though.
You're not expecting that your loved one gets picked up. Now you have to pay extra money, which if you didn't have it, you just let it go and then trying to go with your day. And
with the SUV on the bed, we load up in the cabin. It's a two-seater with a lot of cup space for clutter. Big open windows with a pile of tools between us. It smells like a mix of oxidized metals, sweet antifreeze, and years of elbow grease. He says he's seen a few cars left behind after ICE arrests earlier this year, but lately it's far more. The small handful he's picked up are just a few of the dozens left behind. Immigration attorneys have also seen a spike in new cases from the Seattle suburbs, a hotbed for immigration enforcement. Researchers at the University of Washington Center for Human Rights also began investigating 65 new arrests that happened in June. It's part of a nationwide surge. Angelina Godoy is the director of the UW Center. They've been researching how ICE arrests happen.
They go physically to the site of a place which they define as a high target area or target-rich environment, which is kind of a euphemism, really, just for a place where they expect to find a lot of people of color, a lot of immigrants.
ICE says they use information-based leads to identify and arrest people in what they call targeted enforcement. According to court testimony by ICE agents, during a spike in arrests in the Pacific Northwest in December, they would scan license plates at random to identify potential targets. Godoy says a lot of this takes place at hardware or Latino grocery stores.
So to call that targeted is only targeted in the sense of targeting an entire community or an entire neighborhood or an entire ethnicity.
Sometimes ICE goes out to arrest one person but then picks up other people. This was the case in the fatal ICE shootings in Maine and Texas recently. Tepale is no stranger to ICE or being weary of them. He spent years without legal status, including being a business owner, before he became a U.S. citizen. Since he's been towing cars for free, ICE agents will occasionally drive by his shop. He says they're trying to intimidate us. They drive by doing loops and watch us. They think we're going to run or something. He isn't afraid, he says. But I'm not doing anything wrong, he adds. I simply arrive after they've arrested them and all that. He's seen arrests happen. A while back, a red truck was parked at a gas station near his shop. ICE smashed the guy's windows and dragged him out. That could have been him. It makes him frustrated.
When I was trying to go through my paperwork, they would take my money, they would take my taxes for my business, they would take the taxes that I pay as a business owner. But they would not look at me and be like, you know what, he deserves an opportunity to become a resident or anything. They did not look at me like that.
Many of the vehicles he tows are full of construction gear. Think high-vis vests, hard hats, boots, working people, he says. Back at Tepale's shop, he records a video message to post online about the SUV.
Señores, levanté otro carro hoy.
The language is pretty simple. Recognize this? If you do, send me a message. When he gets a response, he'll cross-reference personal info to make sure the cars go back to their rightful owners. So far, Tepale successfully found people connected to most of the cars he's towed, including the SUV. But there's still the old Camry that's been there for weeks, a golden clunker just sitting there. Earlier in the day, he had gone to an address he suspects is connected to the car. When he got there to leave a note, the door to the home was left wide open, but no one was home. Gustavo Segreiro, KUOW News.
And for the second half of the show today, Washington's 3rd Congressional District will be crucial for determining the balance of power in Congress. This is the district in southwest Washington, including Vancouver, Centralia, and Longview. 9 candidates are running in the state's August primary, but only 2 will emerge from that race to compete in November. Oregon Public Broadcasting's Eric Newman has the story.
This year, because of a wave of redistricting across the country, there are fewer truly competitive seats in Congress. One exception is the seat held by Democratic Representative Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez in Southwest Washington. She first won in a close election in 2022. That's in a district where many counties went for President Donald Trump in the last general election.
We're still a very independent-minded people in Southwest Washington.
The two-term Democrat is facing her most competitive and well-funded challenge from John Braun, the leading state senator in Washington's Republican Party. When Braun talks about the people he wants to represent in Congress, he sounds a lot like Gluesenkamp-Perez.
The great thing about the 3rd District is it's a very independent district.
Candidates will need to appeal to independents to win this coveted swing district. Justin Matheson is the Northwest Director for the Republican consulting firm Axiom Strategies.
Essentially, the 3rd district is nationwide is in the top 5, if not, I would say in the top 3 targets in the country.
Dean Nielsen, a Democratic strategist with CN4 Partners in Seattle, says this year's election looks good for his party, but it's too early for any candidate to get comfortable.
I don't think this race is in the bag, but I also tell my clients there's 2 kinds of politicians. There's paranoid and former.
President Trump endorsed Braun in April. Braun says he supports the administration's current strategy in the Iran war, and on health care, he thinks they have the right approach to making cuts to the Medicaid program.
I support President Trump. I don't agree with him on everything. I don't think any of us agree with anybody all the time.
For example, Braun says he disagrees with the president when it comes to the use of tariffs. If elected, 2 of his pro-business priorities would be keeping the federal income tax rate low and promoting energy production from all types of sources.
Don't just talk about small businesses. How do you actually make it better for them? You make it by helping keep their costs low.
The hiss of power tools can be heard on the assembly room floor at Braun's family business in Centralia, Washington. On a recent day, he stood looking out as some of his 350 employees cut huge sheets of aluminum for the emergency vehicles they manufacture.
Washington has been most successful when we had a little more balanced government. It's certainly, no one would make the claim that it's all that balanced in recent years.
Braun's opponent, Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez, owns a mom-and-pop car repair shop in Portland with her husband, though they live in Southwest Washington. She says her work in D.C. is about refocusing power on the lives of everyday people.
You know, I've been in Congress for 3.5 years now with a majority that often seems to think the only solution is to sort of burn it all down. And then that sort of backed some people on the left into this fierce defense of institutions. And I think you've got to figure out the middle ground there where it's like, no, institutions are never perfect.
She says her legislation is focused on the needs of her constituents, even if that means blurring party lines.
And I think representing a very red seat in a very blue state requires a level of candor and consideration about when the legislation isn't doing what people thought it was going to do.
One example is her recent bill aimed at protecting endangered salmon and steelhead in the Columbia River. It would allow Southwest Washington tribes to kill protected sea lions when they prey on the fish. That legislation got immediate support from the Trump administration. Gluesenkamp-Perez has been criticized by constituents for her support of Israel in its war with Hamas.
And it is in the interest of our country to have a liberal democracy in the Middle East, and that it's strategic and durable, which is why I've opposed the war in Iran 4 times now.
Voting turnout in primary elections is usually low, so who wins will probably be decided by how much each candidate can turn out their base. The election is expected to favor Democrats who are angry at Trump and Republicans, says Ben Gaskins, an associate professor of political science at Lewis and Clark College.
But sometimes it's just really simple. If the president's unpopular, if the Democratic generic ballot is in favor of the Democrats, nothing else may really matter.
Ballots have already been mailed out. They have to be postmarked by August 4th to be counted. I'm Eric Newman, reporting.
Appreciate you listening to Seattle Now, and thanks to our generous donors for your financial support. If you have a minute this weekend, rate and review the show. We love to read your comments, and it helps us a lot. Our production team includes Caroline Chamberlain-Gomez, Vaughn Jones, Andy Hurst, Brooklyn Jamerson Flowers, and Patricia Murphy. Greg Kramer does our theme music. Seattle Now and KUOW Public Radio are members of the NPR network. I'm Paige Browning. Have a great weekend. We'll see you soon.